The following radio program you're about to listen to is provided to you, the listener, by Inked Geek Studios. Get this and other great shows at inkedgeekstudios.com. Mind of a Geek is brought to you by the new Mind of a Geek t-shirt. Get yours today at tiny.cc/igswag. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Mind of a Geek. I am your host, Nate, and I am joined, as always, by Brandon. Brandon, how are you?
Hello. You can hear me. It's amazing.
We can.
We were unsure.
Yes, I screwed with the mics during the intro, so I'm like, well, shit.
I'll tell you the first thing that I noticed now that we don't have cans on.
Oh,
cans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just hear you.
Right.
It's fucking weird.
It's weird to hear me.
Yeah.
I've noticed that these don't amplify as much, so I don't hear myself as much, which is weird for me.
All I'm hearing now is just you talking.
Yeah, I hear you clearly.
Right.
I don't hear me.
I don't hear you either.
Oh,
I hear you organically.
Well, I'm very organic.
Whisper in my ear, Nate. Sweet nothings, please.
Anyway.
Wait, is this still all geeked up? What's happening?
I know, like our last show is stretching over.
The homoeroticism is bleeding through.
Our guest this week comes to us from the Franchise Friends podcast. We'd like to welcome Kate Strollo to the show. Kate, welcome to the show.
Hey guys, thank you for having me on.
Oh, of course. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and the podcast?
Will do. So I'm Kate. I'm born and raised in Philadelphia, just moved out to Los Angeles about a year and a half ago. I started Franchise Friends with my boyfriend Tyler, who is my co-host, probably about a year ago, just because we already would sit around and smoke and drink and watch movies and talk about it. So we figured, why the hell not make it into a hobby? And that's kind of what it started as at first. And just we would bring on friends and guests just to kind of just screw around a little bit. It was also very just like cathartic to be able to like talk and carry conversation like that. And then we just kind of started picking up a little bit of traction. Obviously nothing like anything crazy big, but I think we see pretty consistent downloads daily. So just trying to take it to the next level and kind of hoping to network with some people. And yeah, my story in a nutshell.
Very cool.
It's always great when you can turn what you do anyway into a hobby.
It does tend to work out that way.
And here we are.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah, you get people who will naturally just be able to converse together. And whether you're, good friends or best friends or in a relationship, like obviously there's communication, there's the ability to talk. So
And for us, it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
And there's flannel.
And there's flannel.
That's the first thing I noticed when I got on this hangout. I'm like, they're dressed exactly.
Who the fuck are these guys? Okay, so that's a happy accident is what that is.
The flannel?
It's usually not like this.
No, usually it's,
we try to wear black. It's slimming.
Yeah.
Is that like a Halloween Rick and Morty shirt? I can it looks like a little fuzzy over here, but
it's Doctor Who and Rick and Morty.
Oh, amazing. Okay, yeah, now I see the TARDIS. There we go. Love it.
Yeah, my two favorite things.
Thank you for posing.
Well, I'm still on the last show.
Yeah, the last show, Carrie. We had a very, so before we do this show, our live listeners know, but before we do this show, we do All Geeked Up, which is just our general geek and anything show. And it was very random tonight.
Well, it's supposed to be random, but we got really personal about our teenage years and our past and early relationship experiences.
It was a heavy episode.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Oh God, that's always a road. That's always a road to go down.
Compounded by having grown up in a small town together and
yeah,
Having run-ins with the same people over time.
Where are you guys located, by the way? You're on the East Coast, right?
Yeah, we're in Maine.
Portland, Maine.
Yeah.
Okay, very cool.
So we are way over there. Yeah, because it's what, like 6:30 for you right now?
Yeah, I think you're probably the farthest point from me right now.
Probably.
Yeah, I see the sun is still out for you, yeah?
Sun's still up, starting to go down a little bit. Can't really tell with all the smog, but yeah, you kind of guess.
Right.
So there is that stereotypical haze there all the time.
There's always a haze. I have like a pretty nice window right where I'm sitting, and I can't really see like maybe more than 100 feet. Like there's like this little cloud of smog hanging over the trees. And it's like,
gotta love. Now, are you in LA?
That sounds healthy.
Yeah, I'm in LA. I live up in the valley.
Nice.
Up in the valley.
I flew into LA in 2014. I went out there for BlizzCon.
Very cool.
I flew into LA.
Where was? I guess that was probably like the convention center or something.
Yeah, it's in Anaheim. So right across from Disneyland. Yeah.
Disney.
Love
some Disney.
Yeah, no, we didn't get to do Disney, but we were out there for the convention. But no, it was great. It was cool because being in Maine and being in northern Maine, or the North U.S. in Maine.
Yeah, because this definitely
is
not
northern Maine, but north of the rest of the country. We flew out in November, so like we flew out of Boston and it was like 20, and then landed in L.A. and it was like 85, 90, and I'm like, this is heaven.
Heaven? That sounds terrible to me.
Kidding. I went out to dinner the other night, and it was cold, quote unquote, which maybe is like 75 degrees. And I actually had the hostess, as I was leaving, she grabbed my hoodie for me, and she's like, "Please keep warm tonight. It's very cold out." And I checked my phone; it was 75 degrees.
Anything beyond 40 degrees is hot for me.
Yeah, anything beyond 40 is like t-shirt weather.
Yeah, she's like generally concerned. Yeah, I remember in Philadelphia, the winter before I moved out here, it was actually on my birthday. We got about 3 feet of snow and just didn't leave the house first. So that's pretty normal, pretty normal flight. But I'm sure it's probably like 10x up in Maine.
It can be. It hasn't been so bad recently.
No, global warming and all.
Right, yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
No, the last big shutdown storm I remember was like 2013.
Well, we had a big storm last year. That was
pretty brutal.
Like
shut shit down for days. I think it was like 2013.
98 would be the one that I recall.
The ice storm, yeah.
98, I was out of school for a month.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh, I didn't mention. I should have said in the pre-show too. If you want to participate in the chat room, it's in Twitch. So it's Inked Geek Studios on Twitch. I don't know if you had clicked the link that I tweeted out or not.
Oh, yeah.
But if you want to join the chat room, there's some pretty active talkers in there. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, they're a good crew. We love our live people. Our live people are awesome.
Yeah, they're active for sure.
They are.
They're basically a better show than we are.
Yeah, they make our stuff better.
I very recently have started getting into the world of Twitch. It wasn't something I was too into before. I think I was a little intimidated by it.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, with podcasting or any other medium, like you can't be intimidated by the people that are already doing it very well.
Yeah.
Because it's like, like gaming is easy these days. Throwing a webcam up and just going live is easy. There's free tools to do it with. And so because it's easy, it's very welcoming, but it's also like there are people that do it very, very well. And it can definitely, like, I mean, I've definitely been like, oh, yeah, my shit sucks. I mean, we've got that way with the podcast. Like, it's like.
No, we don't say that. Our shit's done very, very well.
Well, I mean, like the live stuff, though.
No, it's very well. It's done. It's done well.
I mean, audience numbers wise.
No, it's huge. It's the best.
It's
the biggest.
It's the best out there.
We have huge numbers. Nobody has numbers like us.
No, 3. Do you have 3? We have 3.
We have 3.
It's fucking amazing.
But yeah, so you had mentioned that for your actual job, you are involved in music. So I was kind of hoping that you would go more into detail with that.
Yeah, I've actually, probably since filling that out, I've actually switched jobs. Still a little bit in music, but when I initially did that, I was working at a digital marketing agency for musicians. So basically, like, we were the people behind like their Twitter accounts. That's pretty much what our jobs were. Yeah, we were literally the ones like tweeting, doing their email blasts, building their websites. yeah, and then I very recently switched over to like an e-commerce platform where I do the same thing, like client interaction, but with a kind of broader base. So I work with like a lot of YouTubers, a lot of Twitch streamers, why I've been trying to get into it more. And we handle like their e-commerce business.
So when you run someone's Twitter, do you have to get to know them on some degree and get a handle as to who they are? So when you tweet, it seems like them.
Yeah.
Like you're tweeting as them, correct?
You're a living bot.
Yeah, no, a lot of clients. I mean, like some, yeah. I mean, for the most part, a lot of them, like they would have us tweet as if we were the client. You know, like this one artist I work with, probably can't really say his name publicly, but he had a couple of million followers, and we would tweet as him. We would interact with fans as him.
I assume that you have a lot of interaction with the publicist. What can you say?
Yeah.
What can you not say?
Yeah, definitely. We a lot of interaction with the manager and the publicist there, getting approvals. Once they got to know us and once we had his voice down, we had a little bit more free reign. In the beginning, everything had to get approved, but then we were able to kind of have a little bit more fun with it, say stuff without having to get it approved. Obviously, nothing too abrasive. Keep very like,
that would almost be
very,
fun.
very clean, non-controversial, but.
It would totally be
just
fun.
Just make sure you don't accidentally click like
Can
on
I just leave
stepmom
my life
porn
with
as a
manual
politician's
labor
account
behind and start tweeting as other people? That would be great.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a ghostwriter for Twitter.
I'll tell you what.
Dude,
you and I will switch.
A lot of what it is, yeah. A lot of ghostwriting, especially like the younger people at the company, like kind of like the assistants, the associates, the one who are actually doing like the nitty gritty posting. Like they might as well have just been ghostwriters.
Right. So you were saying, so now you do an e-commerce thing, and that's interesting because when people talk about Twitch and YouTube and even getting into like the pro gaming and things like that, like a lot of these guys and girls, they're kids, like they're late teens, sometimes early teens. They are, or into their 20s and beyond. But like, so do you guys are you guys set up to specifically work with people who are maybe new into getting into handling money? So it's more of like you're the good guys and like look, this is what you should do with the tens of thousands that you're bringing in, if not more.
No, not really. Honestly,
okay.
I just do the e-commerce. I'm not their manager. They can take that money, whatever they make, and do whatever we want. We're just there to help them basically make the most amount of.
So you're the driving force behind like getting them to be as profitable as they can be.
Not making them as like corrupt as possible.
Okay.
But a lot of our clients, they're on YouTube, and YouTube has just been like really. It's been making it more difficult to monetize recently, the whole adpocalypse thing.
Yeah.
They need to find other sources of revenue, and merchandise is a really like easy way for them to kind of fill that gap.
Right. Yeah, I did read something about that. I mean, our YouTube, like we do all of our recorded stuff on YouTube, but it's not that big at all. And they did just change the way that they were doing monetization, where like you have to have like at least 10,000 overall views now. So there were a bunch of smaller like streamers and podcasters and stuff who like just got the ability for monetization completely ripped out from under them. So yeah, they did change quite a bit of that. We had actually tried streaming on YouTube for a while because through the last couple of years that we've been doing live podcasting, a lot's changed. Like Twitch welcomed it. And then they came out and said, no, you're not gaming. We want you off. And then like Facebook came out with Facebook Live, and YouTube had had YouTube Live. And then like Facebook was good, but their chat room platform sucks. And then YouTube was good, but it's not quite as like for their live stuff. It's not quite as latency free as Twitch, and the chat room isn't as good. And then Twitch was like, no, Twitch Creative, now come podcast.
Yeah, which is great because this medium is way better.
No, Twitch is wonderful because Twitch integrates into everything, and like Twitch is like there's a bunch of competitors. I shouldn't say a bunch. There's like maybe a half a dozen competitors that are trying, but like Twitch is the way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, Twitch, and again, YouTube is great for the recorded stuff and things like that, and people are successful with YouTube Live for sure. And I mean, that's where your biggest guys, like, I mean, I know PewDiePie has been on the ropes lately, but, so do they try and contact you guys? You guys, like, do you track them down to try and contact them? It's kind of a little bit of both.
It's a little bit of both. So I'm an account manager, so I deal with the people who are already on the platform.
Okay.
Pretty much, I don't really do any like sales or anything like that. But we'll get a lot of referrals too. Like, hey, my buddy on Twitch or my buddy on YouTube wants to open up a store. Can you reach out to them? That we get a lot of that too. So it is such a tight knit community, and coming from the space I previously was in, where I would interact with managers and publicists and like the million people before the actual artist. In this job, like it's a lot of just speaking right with the creator.
Right.
You don't have that like wall of managers like in your way trying to protect every single piece of the brand. So it's like a lot easier to talk to these guys. It's a lot easier to get referrals. They have a really close community that they'll kind of shoot your way. So it's kind of how I've been operating.
I don't know about you, Nate, but are you wondering how one gets into a profession like this in the beginning?
Yeah, like that sounds. I mean,
how does it even happen?
Yeah, like I mean, I guess we could kind of start with that because I'm curious. Like, so, like, what are the background requirements to get in? Like, does it require some sort of financial education with college and things like that, or is it just?
I wish it didn't. I mean, the first job I ended up with because one of my professors was friends with my future boss and CEO, who was starting, and this was back in like 2011, back when social media just started to kind of like become like this major force. And he's like, yeah, my buddy's starting this like social media company. He's got like some clients that need help like running their social medias. Do you want to intern? And then once I started interning, it was a novel concept at the time. So it ended up just taking off. Like we had clients kind of like banging down our door because they didn't feel like fucking tweeting all the time or handling their email marketing, handling their website. So I got hired pretty quickly, and then I was there for just 4 years before moving on to my new job now.
Right. Man, I was just telling.
It just kind of was by chance, really. It just was some dude was creating a startup, and my professor was friends with him, and just it is like cool who thing.
All of that is such a foreign world to me. I mean, I live in this black and white world of job application, pick things up, put them down, pick things up. I'm a milkman, so it's the doldrums of regular life are just like, it's not very, it's not a lot of imagination to it, right? So all of these jobs that are outside of my realm are just so foreign to me.
Like you get to do that for work?
Right. It doesn't seem like work to me. It seems like fun.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, I mean, everything has a job for something, right? Like I was just talking to actually JF in the chat room there. I was just talking to him. I think yesterday I was just kind of like, I would love a PR guy. Like,
wouldn't we all?
Yeah.
Right. Like just somebody who'd be like, I'll do your tweets. I'll do your, like what she used to do. Like, I'll do your Twitter. I'll do your Facebook. I'll do your, like
someone to tell us to shut up when we're outing all of these people that we know.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Oh, a producer would be great too. But,
we had Hugo and then he disappeared.
Yeah. Hugo vanished on us. But no, so that was, yeah, I mean, like I said, as far as, like you said, kind of doing the ghostwriter thing and kind of becoming that, like you're basically becoming their voice. That sounds like it would be. I mean, again, without naming names, but like, did you ever have a tweet that you had came up with that you were like, I don't know if I should, but you kind of went with it and it worked, or one that you thought was good and then like you tweeted it and it backfired?
Nothing from our end. I was always like, I had a couple of like coworkers that happened to, but I was always too like chicken shit to do that. If I thought it was a little bit like edgy, I would always try and get approval. But we've definitely had instances where clients would insist on posting something and we'd be like, this might be a little like too much. You probably don't want to do this. And then maybe they would just go ahead and do it anyway. And it would turn into like, it would be anything from like, it would just piss off a few fans to like blogs would end up writing about it. And it would just be like, told you so. Told you so, buddy. It's why you hired us.
Right. Corey in the chat. Did anyone you represent get fired while they were mid-flight? Are you referencing the politician?
God, no.
Other than that, the only instance that I know of from a fan perspective, there's a stand-up comedian, Anthony Jeselnik, who is absolutely amazing. And he had he didn't have a PR person. He did his own tweets, and I'm sure probably a lot of comedians do that because that's kind of embodying a different type of voice. And when there was a tragedy that happened, and he made a horrible joke about it, and he had a TV show in production at the time, and they were like, "Yeah, you might want to take that down, or you're gonna get fired." But no, I couldn't imagine having that. Like, I mean, people do it all the time. Like, even some of podcasters that we listen to, like, hell, Scott does it all the time, where he tweets out something stupid.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and
That's why it's great not to have a huge fan base, because I can say whatever I want.
yeah, you slip under the radar.
No consequence.
Right. Well, minimal consequence.
Yeah, it made me realize, like, when you do kind of hit that threshold of having like a really like active fan base or a really big fan base, like everything you say is just under scrutiny. Like
Right.
even like the most like vanilla things that we would say, or responding to a fan, it's like everyone always had something to say. Like no matter what, like the things that like people pull out of their asses just to get some attention or just to say something is like completely.
Right. And you think about how
worse of humanity on Twitter and YouTube comments, I swear.
well, that's the thing too. You have
Well, it's indicative of the internet
anonymity.
anyway.
Yeah.
And like people will say whatever they say, and yeah, I mean, it's just, I mean, even outside of just social media in general, like you always, because I assume I mean, again, I guess it depends on who you're representing and what type of artists they are, but based off of what their content might be, I assume you also watch headlines and news articles to make sure that they aren't saying anything they shouldn't be saying. And that's probably part, because I know like one of the things that recently, like again, outside of social media, but just in media in general, like this weekend, I think it's this weekend, is New York City Comic Con, and they pulled the Punisher spot because of what happened in Vegas. Yeah. So as people, again, whether you're PR or whether you're handling social media, which I guess is a form of PR, things like that, like you always have to be one step ahead of the game to make sure whoever you're representing doesn't shoot themselves in the foot, or that you don't cause them to get shot in the foot.
Oh God, yeah, it's like it's ridiculous. Like anything, it's like so easy just to take like the stupidest thing and spin it into something.
Oh yeah.
Absurd.
Oh, you misquote. And I was reading an interesting thing about movie reviews and like the movie reviews that you read on the covers of movies. And like on the cover of the movie, it will say like a fantastical experience. But what the review actually was like a fantastical piece of shit. Nobody should experience this.
This movie really puckered up my butthole
Right,
in a bad way.
But so they'll take like the words and like and like you have, and then you have reviewers, and again, it's all about spinning it and how you want it, and they technically didn't lie; those words were in the review.
Yeah,
you know, and that's
ballsy.
That
you could just go. I mean, if someone, I mean, I think that's probably the fact that like no one would actually take the time to look it up. But if you were to take the time to look it up, you'd see that it wasn't.
And that's the thing is, most people won't. Most people won't. JF in the chat, who's an author, he was saying book covers the same way. It's like yeah. I mean, I'm sure anything like that. It's all about how you spin it. Did you find yourself having to do certain where an artist would say something or have a message that he wanted to say, and then you were like, okay, well maybe we should spin that a bit differently before we put it out there? Like, was there ever anything like that?
No, thankfully I never really like ran into that. Yeah, no, I don't think so. I mean, a lot of the artists, there's really only a couple big ones. A lot of the times is working more with either like more mid-tier type artists or like event brands. So fortunately never did run into that issue, but that sounds terrible. So I'm glad I didn't.
I can't imagine it would be fun.
No. God bless PR people. They don't sleep. They never sleep.
The shit that gets dumped on them. Yeah. Oh yeah, man. I couldn't imagine like getting an alert at like 4 a.m. and be like, hey, something just happened. And the tweet that you tweeted out like 4 hours ago now needs to go get deleted. Go. And like, it's already been retweeted like 1,000,000 times. You're like, shit. Like, it's like a whole other world of.
There's an episode of Stuff You Should Know where they break down PR people and publicists. And
right.
It's basically that.
Yeah.
You're on all the time. So when somebody fucks up,
it's like being a doctor.
You have to put fires out. Yeah.
Yeah, you are the social media doctor.
Right.
It's 24 hours on
Let's
call.
hope that we never get there. That seems like a curse.
Yeah, and I mean now, what is it? I mean, I assume it's the next couple of weeks. Twitter's jumping up to 280 characters as opposed to 140.
Right. So now
So
somebody
it'll
can
be-
really say
it'll
what
be
they
twice
think.
as bad. Yeah, there are certain people I don't want to have 240 characters.
Trump.
There's a lot of people I don't want to have that power. Probably actually the entirety of Twitter. I don't want to have that power. But.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice for media creators because, like, it's really hard. Like, when I put out a podcast, like, it is such a Cliff Notes version.
Yeah.
Like, it's the show title and then links. So it'll be nice to, like, be able to include links and also a little description of the episode.
That's true, but what you don't want is idiot diatribes from
No.
like the president.
No, see, what they didn't, what they should have done was they should have made it so they didn't double the character count, but make it so, like, tagging people in posts. Like if I do like at
so that
Crimson
doesn't
Flag,
count.
those don't count.
Right.
Or links don't count.
Right.
So the 140 is purely conversational. That would have been I think that would have been a smarter step. So let's get back to like your podcast. So what you guys do a live show or is it recorded?
No, we don't do a live show, but this is really interesting. I like this setup you guys got going on, so I might look into this for the future.
You definitely should. The live show really makes it worth it.
Live,
Good.
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, we don't do it live. We just have kind of a little office Mac set up with a couple of mics that we just record from. Sometimes we've even recorded if we're on the go. I've just done it on my iPhone,
Right.
which surprisingly is pretty decent quality if you're like in a pinch. But we're kind of like guerrilla podcasters. And we do franchises, which like Hollywood is ensured that we'll never run out of content. So.
Right. Yeah, that seems to be the thing. Sequels, remakes.
Yeah, in this day and age, we've run out of original ideas.
Right.
And if we have original ideas, you're not going to get. They're not popular
No.
typically.
Well, it's a high risk, and that's. I mean,
Is it though? I mean, I don't know, man. I'm really not into the cash cow movie.
well,
The assembly line Hollywood sequel. No,
right, but you're
No,
also
no.
not mainstream public.
that's true.
Yeah.
I'm just
It's-
here in a corner by
it's-
myself with my
remember.
flannel.
It's really simple to
What you
do.
got to remember is a whole built-in audience with these sequels and reboots, and now book adaptations seem to be like the new hot thing. Hollywood can kind of point to and be like, well, we can say that this many people are going to come out and see the movie, whereas a completely new and novel idea, it's going to be either a hit or miss. I mean, you see like what's happening with Mother right now. It's a freaking shit show
Yeah.
around that movie.
That's because they miscast the lead. I don't think she should have been the lead in that movie.
I don't even know what it is.
And as
I
for
agree.
book adaptations, as long as they're a
I
series,
agree.
I'm into book adaptations as if they're a series, not a movie. Like the Neil Gaiman stuff, American Gods, and then Good Omens coming. I'm really looking forward to Good Omens. I can't wait for that. Do you know about that?
No, I don't. I still need to get into American Gods. I've had so many people tell me it's definitely worth it.
It's
so,
worth it. It's worth the trip.
Yeah.
It's interesting
All right.
how when it comes to books, they seem to, for the most part, knock it out of the park. Like I'm not a Game of Thrones fan, but I respect that it's good. I don't like it. But it's high quality and it obviously gets plenty of praise. Walking Dead comic book to TV show, American Gods, all the successful comic book TV shows, Gotham and all the DC and Marvel ones and things like that. Like those do well, but when it comes to movie adaptations, like you've got Dark Tower, which was a heaping pile of shit.
Don't get me started on Dark Tower,
most
man.
of your
Don't bring that back up.
most of your
Dark Tower is my
that
childhood.
that
and they
comes-
raped my fucking childhood.
that comes out on digital in a couple of weeks. We have to do it for our movie podcast.
so I can hate fuck it.
Yes. No, and then you've got the Dan Brown movies, the Robert Langdon ones, which
Those fucking suck too.
but the books
Yeah,
are
they were not
phenomenal.
good.
The books are great.
Yeah.
The only movie I've ever walked out on was fucking Da Vinci Code.
Yeah, it was too long.
No, it's just god awful.
Now I liked
God fucking awful.
I liked Angels and Demons because I liked Ewan McGregor as the main or the secondary main because obviously Hanks is the main and Hanks' Langdon is amazing. But other than that, the movies are horrible. And like Inferno, they changed the ending, which completely defeated the meaning of the whole book. So yeah, but then again, but I love the books. I've listened to the audiobook several times. The new one, Origin, just came out. I'm super excited to listen to that. But again, in movies, they always seem to drop the ball, and it's interesting. Like he said, a series over a movie because you have the time to spread that out. But
Yeah, I actually just started reading right before they dropped the trailer, the Annihilation series.
I am
And
not familiar. Are you familiar?
I need more information.
it's kind of like it's the if you guys seen the trailer, Natalie Portman's in it.
No,
It's
I
a
don't
good
think
trailer.
so.
I'd recommend it if you're sci-fi fans. Basically, it's this team of like all women scientists. They go into this like zone somewhere on Earth. One of them's going after her husband, and then like basically it's just like this weird zone where weird shit happens. People disappear. People there's like entities. It's kind of like a hard thing to explain. That's why I started reading the book before
That
watching
sounds
the
right
movie.
up my alley. I'm surprised that's gone under my radar.
Yeah.
Parents,
Yeah,
check it out.
I would suggest checking it out. It looks pretty dope. It has like Oscar Isaac in it. I'm a pretty big fan of, so I'm excited for that to come out.
No, I'll definitely check that out post show.
I'm trying to think of what I'm excited for movie wise. Like I want to see it.
You haven't seen it?
I haven't seen it yet.
Really?
I want to. I want to see Kingsman 2.
You know what's great about
Yeah.
it is that fucking John Boy is not in it.
You said that so many times,
The
yeah.
TV adaptation, it's all right. It's not great, but John Boy and the Mole, I really just
No,
no.
that and then I
I'll
like
take
that.
I'll take Finn Wolfhard all day though. That kid
Oh, I
made
love
the
that
movie.
little
man.
kid.
Yeah, it's
He's
great.
funny as hell. He had me cracking up.
Yeah.
See, at this point, we're getting so close to December that it's all I can think about is Star Wars, and we're supposed to be getting the new trailer Monday night.
Yeah.
So I'm super pumped for that. We're supposed to see Snoke.
Yeah.
So
I don't know what's coming down the pipeline that I'm super excited about. Star Wars, yeah, but that's a given. And
Right.
I mean, I don't know.
I
There's
got
not really
tickets
anything
to
that comes
see
to
Blade
mind.
Runner tomorrow. I've heard
I do want to see
that's
that.
Now
I hear
see-
that that's epic sci-fi with
Yeah.
I don't know, deep meaning.
general consensus that I've heard so far is it's about a half hour too long.
Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Almost 3 hours.
Yeah.
So
That's
Yeah.
fun.
buckle up.
See,
I'm
that's
into
my
it.
thing with Kingsman too. Like Kingsman's 2.5 hours long. I think that's about a half hour too long.
You think so?
Yeah.
It depends on the movie, I guess. As I get older, as much as I love going to movies, yeah.
See that, and that's where it's tough.
You know
because,
what happens to me is I fall asleep every time.
See, for me, like I always try and look at the playtime to be able to schedule it, right? So I can go, okay, so it's going
Yeah.
to start here, about 10 minutes for trailers. It's going to start here. It'll end about here. Obviously, that includes about a 10-minute credit scene, 5-10 minutes, depending. And I never stay for those. So you cut 10 minutes off the end. So yeah, so I do that to be able to schedule it. So I'm like, all right, do I have time to go see the movie? Sure. But the drawback to that is when I was younger, like I would never look at the playtime because then you're waiting and you're almost counting it. So you almost get to be like, is it over yet? Is it over yet? And like,
Why would you go to a movie and then say that?
what do you mean?
Is it over yet? Is it over yet?
If it's
Well,
not-
what is
you
the point of
really
going
hate
to?
the
Because
movie
if you
that-
know,
If you're not okay, I can understand if you're not drawn into the movie. Like
well, that's my point.
Dark Tower was 90 minutes. Of all the movies that they make that are super fucking long, Dark Tower was
Okay,
90 fucking minutes.
Let me give.
All those decades
No,
of
I know,
books,
90 minutes.
7 fucking books, and you're gonna give me 90 minutes of content and then change everything?
Let me give a
You
better
got burnt
example.
by this movie.
Oh
It's
my
really
god, he was.
You have
pissed.
no idea. It's a huge problem.
Salt in
for
the
me.
wound over here.
Yeah, he was pissed. No, a better example of what I am trying to say, perhaps. All right, if I'm watching a TV show, right, and TV shows are notorious for this work. If it's a good show, the end creeps up on you before you know it, right? And it's great
Yeah.
because you get lost.
Right, that's my point.
in that 45 minutes. But if I have to pause it for whatever reason, whether it's one of the kids or whatever the case may be, and I see that I'm on like minute 37 of 43, that kills the whole thing for me.
Well,
because
yeah,
I'm-
if you're taken out of the movie like that,
right.
then yeah.
So if
But
I
if you
know,
go to
so
the
if I
theater
know
knowing
the,
that a movie is long,
if I know the playtime, because I know the incremental playtime, that's gonna.
right? But if that sets the standard for you going into the movie,
Well, that's
you
why
better
I-
hope that fucking movie is good
Well, that's
to take
why
you
I.
out of that.
That's why I don't like knowing the playtime. But now with having to schedule everything, it's nice to know when I'm going to be out of the theater.
It's funny for those of us that have real jobs. My days off are they come at a premium, you know? Like I have to delegate what I'm going to spend my time doing, and nowadays going to a movie on those precious days off and wasting that amount of time is really a problem.
Right,
for me.
exactly.
As much as I love movies,
Right.
like we've been wanting to see that Kingsman sequel.
Right.
But every time I'm like, oh man, that's a lot of time on my day.
It is. I can
It's
just wait.
something you have to schedule in. These movies have just gotten so stupid long. I don't know why. I feel like when the 90s and like I would go to the movies, it would be like an hour and a half tops, and now it's like Blade Runner, almost 3 hours.
I think
it's
like,
holy shit, like that's something
it's
I have
Lord
to
of the Rings
schedule
syndrome.
Lord of the Rings and Pirates definitely set the
Pirates.
standard for
Everything
that.
wants to be like an epic masterpiece now. You know,
because in the 90s, I could definitely go in the summertime and movie hop and see The Rock, see Phenomenon, just get the whole gamut of John Travolta movies, Broken Arrow, all of it.
Well, it's funny because you have it in music too, but music's a little bit different because I mean, yeah, you have your people who are total music files, who like they will buy an album. I mean, who buys albums anymore? They will stream an album, and like they'll from start to finish. Like Dustin used to be that way with Tool and Nine Inch Nails and Marilyn Manson, right? Yeah. And he would, you know, you go in and like that's all you do for X amount of time is you just listen to it.
Well, the idea is that the album is what it is for a reason, and you need to listen to it in that order in its entirety.
Right.
Never mind the singles, but
right. But point
Tool
being,
I can understand. Nine Inch Nails is really just
noise.
It's a slog, man.
Well, my point being is that like so, and you have that. Again, with music, like with music, I want my albums longer, like the Avenged Sevenfolds, the Metallicas, Iron Maidens, like things like that. Like, you know, very few modern bands, a lot of classic bands, and you get your 60, 70, 80-minute albums, and it's great. I will never forget one of my most disappointing times. It was the Life Starts Now album by 3 Days Grace. It was their brand new album. They were my favorite band before their lead singer quit.
I don't know any songs by that band.
It's a 37-minute album. I was pissed. I was like, really? Because with music, again, I want that length because I'll have it in my ears at work or I'll have it in the car when I'm driving. So I don't mind that it's long. With movies, with movies, like I can throw it up on the 4K behind me or one of the monitors here or whatever the case may be. I can watch it on the iPad at work. But if I really want to watch it and get invested, that is all I'm doing for that set amount of time. Yeah. And it's just like, I don't want it to be almost 3 hours.
No, it's a big part of your day.
Quarter of my day.
So with 3 Days Grace, where it was
it's an eighth of my day. I can't do math.
Well, that's why we're here. So with 3 Days Grace, where it was a 37-minute album, was it quality over quantity? I don't know anything about that band.
Yeah, I mean,
that is not
like
my
that
wheelhouse at all.
had like Life Starts Now. It had Chalk Outline.
You can say that to me, but that means nothing.
It was the last album they had with Adam Gontier and
again
the lead singer. Yeah.
It all sounds like shit to me, man.
That's fine.
They all sound the same.
3 Days Grace.
You know what I think they should do with those bands? All of those bands should take their singles and then collaborate and make one album.
Well, you know what's funny
because
is
they all fucking sound the same.
They kind of do that.
They should do that.
Like you have audio. You have audio. Who does Metalingus? No. Well, whatever. Anyway, but
what the fuck is a Metalingus?
It's the name of a song. But anyway, no, you have that. Like Hell Yeah is the collaboration between like Pantera, well, formerly Pantera and Mudvayne.
I understand supergroups. That's not what I'm saying.
Right, but you have to understand for people that are fans of these genres, those are the supergroups. Like if you back in their heyday,
I'm not talking about supergroups. I'm talking about generic radio rock. 3 Days Grace, other shitty
Breaking
bands,
Benjamin,
30 Seconds to Mars, all that shit. Those bands should all just make one album. Have one song a piece and do an album.
But then you'd have one album to listen to.
Fuck off because you all suck.
I love how
that's my opinion on that.
I love how every episode has a mommy and daddy are fighting in the kitchen moment.
We're not fighting.
No, it's kind of become one of the things. It happened really early last time. It was music related too.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
You want me to just hold you down and fuck you now?
Oh my God. No, I'm very mainstream when it comes to my musical tastes, but back to movies. No, but because I apologize for bringing music up. But yeah, so when it comes to movies, like I want something short. I want something quaint. I want to go in. I want my previews. I want good previews, and I want to be like previews, like getting concessions, getting previews, getting the movie, and then leaving before the credits. And man, you want raging from me? Fuck this whole like wait 15 minutes for a stinger shit. Put it at the beginning of the credits so I can go home.
They've started to now.
Good. I hate that shit.
I'm not
I will skip it and go watch it on YouTube.
I'll take it as it is, like short and sweet. That doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is whether or not the content is good and engaging. But it can be as long as it needs to be. It just needs to be good the whole time.
Right. Where do you fall on that? Are you?
Yeah. Now that we've totally cut you off and started arguing amongst ourselves.
So So like where I fall on like the like length of time. In,
Yeah,
like,
do you
movie.
like? Yeah, like
What for you makes a good theater experience? Like, what are you looking for?
I do. I've been so like I got kind of spoiled because in LA like they take like the theater experience pretty seriously out here. Like there's some like really like baller theaters that have like these really nice reclined seats, Dolby sound. Like
Oh, now come on. We might live in Maine, but we have that too. I already said that we fall asleep in the theater. Why do you think that is? That's because
that
I
is
can
true. Yeah, the
completely
recliner
recline.
seats are like so good. But I think that's definitely one of them is just like having that screen experience. I've definitely like kind of, I will buy like IMAX tickets now over just like standard screens. I feel like I've gotten a little like spoiled by that. The crowd too. I went to go see Annabelle with my little like 10-year-old niece who's like super into horror. She loves that shit. And there was a bunch of teenagers behind us that were super stoned and just like giggling and laughing. And they got to a point where they were really loud. And I kind of just like turned around and I was like, shut the fuck up.
So you went full on
And they were all like,
Costanza.
Right.
That's right.
now, see, there's a theater. Now, I don't know if you have them in your area. I don't know where they are, but it's the Alamo Draft House.
Mm-hmm.
And I have heard so many great things about an Alamo Draft House. Like it's now, see, one thing that we don't have here at all, which I hate, is they don't have assigned seats in the theaters here anymore. There was one theater that tried it.
Cinemagic does it now.
Cinemagic does it now.
And Falmouth does it now.
Okay, good. I haven't been in a little while because that's another
Falmouth
thing.
is
Like
exclusively assigned.
because again
And
that
Cinemagic,
goes
it's optional, but you have it.
that goes back to a time thing. Like if I want a good seat, and then I mean I guess a good seat just depends on your purpose at the movie. Like I don't want to have to get there another half hour early if it's a big one. Like I love that they have assigned seats now because now when episode 8 tickets go on sale Monday, I'm gonna buy my tickets and I'm gonna show up 5 minutes late.
Right.
Like
I will
that's
not.
great.
See, it's funny. As
Yeah.
much time as I don't have, a big part of the experience for me is going to the theater early, sitting there. Just the whole experience of a theater is what I love about movies. Sitting there in the dark, pre-show.
Yeah, see, I'm totally like new age hipster kid.
Oh,
like
yeah,
that's
you
great,
are.
but put Wi-Fi in the
Well, it's like
theater
I
so
said
I don't
earlier.
lose connection on my
You're
phone.
so fucking tender, man. You just can't hang. I don't get it.
No, the assigned seating is like so fucking key. I'm so glad that's something. As I remember again, like 90s, early 2000s, where like you'd have to kind of fight for a seat, especially if it was opening night. You'd probably get there like an hour or two, even like 2 hours early, and try and get some like prime seat and be able to sit with all your friends. And that was just such a pain in the ass.
I suppose if the population is gigantic, but where I'm from, there was no one. I spent summers in the theaters alone every time.
Right.
That actually sounds great.
It was great. To be able to be there alone as a kid and talk to the movie. What are you doing? What's going on? What the fuck? Phenomenon, especially. I remember that. I saw that a couple times at like 10 years old.
Right.
What a movie.
No,
You seen
see,
Phenomenon?
ages ago with Travolta, right?
Oh, it's
You're
a
on a
movie.
Travolta kick.
Yeah, I know, right?
Are you going Scientologist on us?
No?
All right.
Oh, cool.
So so the reason I brought up Alamo was because you mentioned the complaining. They encourage ratting out assholes. So like they're like, look, if someone's being loud, and I mean I don't need to be encouraged. If I paid, like I don't go that often. Usually if I go to the movies, it's either me and him checking something out or I'm bringing one of the kids, right? Yeah. So if I'm bringing one of the kids, it's probably a kids movie, which means there's probably other kids, which means I'm probably not going to be overly anal about people being loud. I expect kids to be loud at a kids movie, right?
Yelling,
right?
Yeah.
But if I'm there, and my God, teenagers are the fucking worst, and I'm becoming old man. But like, so I don't need to be encouraged. If someone's loud, I will go. But what I think they should do is so my movie theater experience.
If someone's loud, you'll go?
I will go turn them in. I will tell them exactly where they are. But I think so my experience doesn't get ruined further. And I'm just kind of stemming this off my
way more mellow than you.
Put Wi-Fi in in the theater idea. Have an app where I can have an account and I can sign in, and I put in like a Foursquare type thing where I check in and this is the theater I'm seeing and this is the theater number that we're in, and if there's somebody being loud and disruptive, I should be able to open my app and tap a button. and then they'll come, and then they can, and that way, because also too, when the person is being loud and obnoxious and they see you get up, they're gonna quiet down. They know you're probably going to tell someone
or buy popcorn. What a world you live in, man.
Maybe you're going to the bathroom.
That's all part of the experience. Like, if someone's loud, you're trying to shut the fuck up. But outside of that, like,
Corey, I am not disturbing the people around me if I have my phone on because I have auto brightness, so it will dim the screen because I'm in a dark room.
Do you guys do you have Movie Pass out there? Do they get your theaters yet?
What's that?
Movie Pass?
The subscription service?
I think they're everywhere because I don't think it needs to be in the theaters. I think it's just it's like a MasterCard.
Yeah, we have it.
Yeah.
That's all. Would you guys like have it though?
Oh no,
I have the app on my phone, and that's as far as I've gotten.
I have a couple friends who've gotten it. I'm interested in
Have they found it to be worth it yet? Like, is it paying for itself or?
I mean, it's like I think it's $9.99 a month. So
it's $10 a month, and you can go to one movie a day.
Yeah, a movie a day.
So that would be totally worth it to me.
I was actually thinking about it, like for the movie podcast.
Right.
Yeah.
But you again, it's one a day, which is obviously fine, but you can't do IMAX with it now. Yeah. So which is dumb because I would think that what they would do is be like, okay, do IMAX, but let me pay the difference.
I guess, but
or have like a premium tier. You want IMAX or something?
Guys are probably elitist. Like, does it really have to be IMAX? What the hell is the difference? $10 a month to see a movie a day.
I see Star Wars in like standard depth. Come on.
I have a 4K TV purely to watch stuff that I fall asleep to.
So do I.
I'm gonna go see IMAX.
But again, I'm not gonna pay twice the money to see an IMAX movie. Yes, with Star
It's
Wars,
not twice.
Yeah.
It's fucking twice as much. Yes, it is.
Well, then get a medium popcorn instead, and you'll make up the money.
It doesn't matter. It does not matter. Star Wars, it matters, but outside of that, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I will forever live in shame the fact that my first IMAX experience was a Star Trek movie.
Why?
Oh, which one?
The first Abrams one. Yeah. It was because that was when we got what was that 09, right?
Yeah.
I don't like Star Trek.
No.
So that was So that was
Shameful.
that was the new IMAX theater, and that was the very first movie they. No, I'm a Star Wars guy. I was
but I still like
I was
Star
very
Trek.
much raised in the camp. Actually, it's funny because there was a episode of one of Scott's shows that Garrett Weinzel was on, and I was like, he was like repeating me word for word almost. I was very much in the camps of it's Star Wars or Star Trek. It's one or the other, and I was very much Star Wars.
I disagree. It can be both.
I mean, I don't disagree. I enjoyed the movies.
If you're feeling fantastical, Star Wars. If you want to be logical, pun not intended, Star Trek.
Fine. No, I mean, I like the Orville. It's basically Star Trek.
It's Star Trek with character, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, really, Star Trek.
Did you say you like the Orville?
Oh, I love it. It's so good.
Okay, I wanted to give it a shot, but I've just been hearing like people
Now here's
shit.
the thing. I have a podcaster who's been a guest on this show before, Daryl Skeels. His nickname is the Trek Nerd. He's a huge Trek fan. He cannot stand it. So
well, it's probably a slight to him, right?
Right. So I think
it's a slap in the face of Star Trek.
It's okay. So I'm gonna reference this because both of the hosts are in the chat room right now. So Amy Frost and JF Dubois, who are in the chat, they do a podcast called The Overcast. It's for Overwatch, the Blizzard game. And it's very much dubbed as that is a shooter for people who don't like shooters because it takes away some of the stress of a legit shooter and it adds fun that some may not have. So I would say that would be a good comparison where Orville is Star Trek for people who don't like Star Trek.
Okay.
Because the people who very much like the serious tone of Star Trek aren't going to like the goofiness of Orville. But that's how I would look at it because I even tried to watch.
Have you seen Star Trek?
I tried to watch the new episode of that new Star Trek and I didn't like it.
No, never mind all that, man.
And I've tried to watch old Star Trek.
You mean original or next gen?
Both.
They're pretty fucking campy, man.
Even the amazingness of Patrick Stewart didn't get me to enjoy.
God, dude, my mom loved that show when it aired, and I was a little kid at the time, so she would make me watch every fucking episode with her.
Now I'm being
I think that kind of like destroyed Star Trek.
Yeah,
I don't hate Star Trek, but
like
it just kind of fucked that world up for me. I was like, I can't do this anymore.
But that's typical, right? Like anything that your parents are super into, you tend not to like.
Yeah, well, I don't know. My parents loved country music, and
You don't listen to country music.
Yes, I do.
You listen to pop.
Oh my God, can we not have this argument now?
It's pop.
I listen
And it
to
begins again.
I listen to modern country music.
No, you don't. You listen to pop. See, I should stop because he'll just lean over there and turn my mic off, and that'll be that. Here it goes. And we're gone.
Yeah. No. JF is giving me crap. I'm all okay. Yeah, you're right. It is a legit shooter. It's a shooter, but you know what I mean. It's the shooter for, and you guys have said that before. It's a shooter for people who don't like shooters, who aren't typically shooter players. But anyway, I was just trying to make a reference point. But yeah, no, I enjoy it. I mean, I really like Seth
MacFarlane.
Yes, thank you. It was in my head, but it didn't sound weird for some reason. And then I wanted to say Seth Green, which is way off.
You always want to say Seth Green.
Yeah, but no, and I like MacFarlane too. I mean, he like some of his stuff, but like Ted was amazing. I loved Ted. I haven't seen 2. I really want to.
You can pass on 2.
2 wasn't as good.
No.
But yeah, so and he's not over the top in it. But yeah, I would say give it a shot. I mean, it's on Hulu, so if you have Hulu, I mean, it's not like it costs anything extra. And Hulu is a great service to have with, I mean, man, they're like on top of the TV game these days.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like next day.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I've totally cut the cord. It's all, you know.
And now, actually, I had it for football, but now that football's on Amazon Prime, and the Patriots apparently forgot how to play football this year, I have no
She
reason to
doesn't
watch
care
football.
about the
Probably
Patriots at
not.
all.
Are you a football fan at all?
Not really.
No.
Not really. No.
You are talking to
having,
two guys
grown up in
flannel.
Philadelphia, I had that shit shoved down my throat like every other day.
Yeah,
but,
and it was the Eagles too.
mhm. Yeah. Fuck those guys.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in a safe place where I could say that. I couldn't say that.
Yeah, no, by all means. We have a past guest who was from Philly, and actually he's an Eagles fan and he hates Patriots. So, yeah, no, I will always say I'm not a sports fan. I'm a Boston sports fan. Like I'm not gonna watch football if it's not the Patriots. I don't really care about basketball, but hockey.
Yeah, I'm pretty fair weather with sports.
Yeah,
it's
hockey
mostly
I can't
boring
get into.
as shit.
I can't get into hockey.
Hockey's okay, but most of it is boring to me.
Yeah.
When the stakes are high, I'll watch football, but it's kind of like watching flies
Hockey,
fuck, man. It's not entertaining.
It's interesting. Hockey, I don't like the aspect that it doesn't stop. Like everyone says that's why they like it, because it's always high intense. But I guess, I mean, it translates to games. I prefer turn-based over real time.
If you're going to go from football to hockey, like the transition there's, I can't talk. The transition there is so huge.
Right.
Football, it's segmented, play, stop, play, stop.
Right.
Hockey.
Well, like I said, to bring it back to like geeky, like, gaming wise, like when it comes to gaming, like I definitely prefer turn-based over real time. Like I like to perform an action and then analyze and then I don't want, and
what a lover you must be.
I want to perform an action and then analyze.
How'd you like that, dear?
Gotta gauge the reaction.
Did that work for you? Are you tingly?
I don't follow it enough to be able to know a lot of the names, but I do love me some MMA and watching UFC.
I followed it when Lesnar was champion, and I followed Ronda Rousey before she bit and started to be bad.
R.I.P.
Yeah, and then I watched some of the boxing fight with Mayweather and McGregor.
Yep.
Yeah. My God, do I wish that was an MMA fight, not a boxing fight, because he would have destroyed him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Next
That
time
would
around.
have been seconds over.
Yeah. Well, no, it would have been over in the first. Yeah, like you said,
if
first
he could have
round.
used a knee, it would have been done.
A knee, if you could have hit him in the back of the head.
Yep.
Like anything.
I had thought for a while there that they would do the boxing and then they would do an MMA, but I doubt
think
it.
that
after the results of the last one.
Yeah, I mean that might have been in the talks beforehand, but you could watch that fight and see that Mayweather.
But either way, those two guys got a huge payday out of that.
Oh yeah,
so no one really lost.
Nobody lost. It was all for pro, but
which again, what a bunch of sheep we are.
Right.
Fuck those guys, man.
It was entertaining, man. They know what to do. Back to PR.
Yeah, I'm convinced they're just great friends who just they're publicists. They're fucking publicists.
That would be my guess.
No,
that somebody.
I mean, maybe
the publicist is where my bet lies.
But see,
hey, you know what would be a great idea? Over a couple of beers one night.
What was entertaining?
What would make us the most amount of money?
Right. Well, I mean, that's what we do. Mom and dad fight in the kitchen. No. I mean, you could be right because again, at that point, you're doing whatever you got to do for the camera, right? So no, my favorite thing about that fight was like, yeah, the PR leading up to it. Like I loved it. McGregor did this thing where I don't remember who the player was, but he wore the sports jersey of the basketball player that Mayweather's wife had an affair with, and he wore it to one of the press events. And I'm like, dude, you're turning this into pro wrestling. I love it.
Bullshit, yeah.
No, but it's great though, like because we are big wrestling fans, and we grew up watching like the Attitude Era of wrestling and stuff, and that's always what it was. It's like you go one step lower. And that was what the heel always did. And it was great to kind of see that brought into a real sport. And now people argue that MMA is as fake as pro wrestling. But I mean, whatever. I don't know. I enjoy it. They're athletic for sure. But it's
fun to go to a sports bar and like watch it. Everyone, especially like just yelling at the screen.
Oh, I bet. See, if they had a streaming service like the WWE has, like I assume you don't watch like wrestling, like the fake stuff.
I don't. I have plenty of friends that like follow that shit hardcore, but I do not.
See, so they have their pay-per-views which you can buy for like $50 a pop, right? But they have their network, which is $10 a month, and you get access to all their pay-per-views. You don't have to spend the 50. So it's a great deal. If UFC did something like that where like you could pay like $10, $15, $20 a month for all of their events that are normally $60 a pop, and I could stream it, I didn't have to connect it to a box, I think that would get me to watch it, because that would be fun to watch, because you're just watching two talented dudes beat the fuck out of each other. I mean, you don't need a story there, you know? But I don't know. I grew up, my dad was a big boxing guy. MMA wasn't a thing back then. My dad, or at least not widely. And my thing with wrestling over boxing was because wrestling is scripted, they can guarantee you a great event. They don't always do, but
especially in this day and age.
Right, but they can guarantee it because it's written to be that way. You know you're going to have a big pop in the last match. You know you're going to have the cliffhanger for the next night, like it's written there. My dad, on more than one occasion, because with boxing, more or less, and I think MMA is a little bit more spread out, but with boxing, you order the card, or you order the event for the main event. And then you watch the rest of the matches, right? So, I mean, more than on one occasion, he was paying $30, $40, $50 for a one-round main event. And it's like you paid $50 for a minute. Whereas wrestling, you're guaranteed a good 3-hour show.
The thing about wrestling with subscription is the content is there.
Right.
You couldn't have a boxing or MMA subscription service unless you were going to go delve into a back catalog of decades. Could you though? Because with the WWE network, you have shows outside of the main shows. You actually have shows.
Yeah, but there was that UFC, whatever it was.
Do they have any real content though outside of pay-per-views?
Well, no, but their pay-per-views are still $50, $60 a pop.
They are, but would you really pay $10 a month to go back and watch them and study them over and over again?
Yeah, they couldn't. With them being real as opposed to entertainment, they couldn't do like an evening with Frank Mir. Right. Exactly. You can't do shit like that. Yeah, no. I mean, I don't know. It'd be cool though. I mean, I would certainly watch it if it wasn't behind so many paywalls.
Paywalls are terrible.
Paywalls. So, before we get around to kind of starting to wrap up, what are some topics that you've covered on like your last couple episodes, in case anyone wants to go back and check them out? And then maybe we'll end off with like what's going to be in your next episode.
Yeah. So, Pat, our very last episode, we covered the Matrix trilogy, which I'm a huge fan of the very first movie. I kind of iffy on the second one, and it was actually the first time I've seen the third one. So that was a lot of fun to do. And last night we kicked off our Spooky October and did the Child's Play series.
Nice.
Child's Play 1, 2, and 3, which was like kind of like traumatic for me because those movies really fucked me up as a little kid. I don't know why my mom let me watch those when I was like 3, 4 years old. I couldn't sleep. And I had an American Girl doll that was like kind of the same size of Chucky, who would like kind of stare at me off to the side while I was sleeping. And I haven't really watched them since. That was haven't really gotten sleep this week, but that was a fun report. I love that series.
Have you seen there's a new one, right?
Yeah, I think it just came out on Netflix. It's like Cult of Chucky.
Okay. Oh, so it's like a direct to DVD. Yeah. No, Child's Play I never really got into. As a kid I grew up watching horror movies. Like I grew up because it was always
Yeah.
the USA Network, and it was always like the edited for TV version of like Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th was the big one. I was a huge Jason fanboy. And I loved them. They were great for their time. They were fun. They were campy. I was one of those kids, I guess, growing into adults, that it wasn't for a while that I didn't realize that Jason wasn't the original killer, like it was his mom. And I had no idea, because even because I think the first one I ever saw was, I want to say it was probably 4 or 5. But it was, then you go back and like even 2, before I developed an appreciation for the series, like even 2, like he doesn't have the hockey mask. He's got like the sack over his head. Like I want the hockey mask killer, you know? So
funny. Side note, I love that our generation got into horror so early. Like I remember my mom being like, "Fuck it, go ahead, watch Alien. You're 3 years old." It's like nowadays, I feel like that would never happen.
I've got 3 kids, 6, 3, and just turned a year, and I tend to be pretty liberal with what they have access to.
Nice.
I mean, I don't edit my playlists in the car based off of if they're, I mean, I don't like listen to like hip hop or anything like that anyway, so I don't listen to anything that's overly sexualized.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, whatever. I mean, I podcast, I game. My
This
daughter
is
will
a
hang
song
out.
about anal sex and God.
Yeah, I'm not gonna play the Tim Minchin song with the kids in the car.
You're not?
No.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not gonna play a song about anal sex and God with the kids in the car. I have some tact, very little.
A little bit.
But yeah, like I mean, like I don't know. My son sat and watched Deadpool with me, my 3-year-old, and all I did was fast forward through the sex scene because it's fucking Deadpool.
He's not gonna remember
No,
it.
he won't remember anyway. No, like they jam out like Slipknot released their volume whatever album, the most recent one, and The Devil Inside was one of the songs off the album, and it had this really slow intro and a cool drum beat. And like he was 2 years old, I'd hold him and he'd hear that intro, like the intro tune, and he'd get all excited, and I'd hold him and he'd headbang. He loved Warrior's Call by Volbeat.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so things that I mean, like he loved the music video for Devil Inside, which I won't describe, but like go watch it, and like he
I
loved
assume
it.
we're not talking about the In Excess song.
No, we're talking about the Slipknot song, Devil Inside.
No idea.
All right. Yeah, I mean that's fast forward the sex scenes, let the violence go. So fucking American. But I mean that's because like I don't know, whatever. I mean that's just it's one of those things where it's like it's because when the I mean we could go on this for hours, but because the way I look at it, JF, to kind of address that a little bit. And Kate, if you want to chime in that way at all, by all means, if you have an opinion. But the way I look at it is 9 times out of 10 when you see violence in movies, it's always over the top. It's always gratuitous, especially in Deadpool.
So is the sex.
Right. But it's still real enough.
The violence or the sex?
The sex. It's still real enough. Like the sex in Deadpool wasn't too over the top.
I don't remember.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Kind of campy.
So it's exactly. It was. I mean, it was. It
Were
was.
you guys
whatever.
having a lot of campy sex?
In what? No, but I'm just saying, like it was like they had sex around the seasons, and I think he even got pegged at one point. So
you can relate.
fuck's sake.
Do you have seasonal sex?
National Women's Day, yeah. But I think that's why, is because the violence is over the top and obviously very comical, whereas the sex isn't always portrayed like okay, Desperado's a good one, right? So the guy's carrying around a guitar case full of weapons, and
like you do.
The gun violence is ridiculously over the top, but the sex scene with Selma Hayek was very slow and passionate. So the sex scene wasn't over the top.
That sex scene was over the top, man.
Whereas the when he like did like the spur of the boot up her thigh, like that was a little corny.
I don't know. I got sweaty.
But where do you have any kids?
No, I do not.
So where do you kind of where do you kind of stand with that? With like just in a general consensus, like with censorship, like is violence okay over sex, or like do you have an opinion in regards to that?
Ooh, actually, and I guess I never really thought about that. I think the most interaction I have with kids is my boyfriend does have a niece and a nephew. Little dude is 4, and the girl is 11. And his brother, I think, is probably very much like you and how he presents them with like music and movies.
Right.
And I think it's fine. I think like also like the 11-year-old, she's a huge like horror fanatic. She loves slasher films. Like she'll go see, like she's been dying to see it. I don't know what 11-year-old says that, but and I think like especially once they do get that age, like they do realize like what's real and what's not, and are able to differentiate between like the fantasy violence and things like that. So I guess that's always something I never really thought about because I don't have my own, my own children. It's kind of what I see like more the moms around here doing, but
the perspective is different. I have no kids. I'm
Yeah.
sure that the mindset would be different.
I mean,
but-
I don't deny that I have a little bit overly liberal sense of it.
Right.
Like,
But yeah, that's the thing, though. Like my
But, like,
interaction with the kids that are in my life, I talk to them like they're just little adults.
right.
So I don't
Yeah.
know.
But,
I
like,
don't know
I
how
had
that
a-
would go.
I had a woman freak out at me at Walmart because I was buying my 3-year-old Nerf guns.
Well, mistake number one, you were at fucking Walmart.
right. Well, yeah.
What are y'all doing? No Nerf guns.
Well, because he
Goes against God.
Right. Well, because he was like, no, because it was Dad. I want a gun. I want a big gun. Because he doesn't call them
Can you
Nerf.
fucking
He just
blame
wants
him?
a big gun.
Yeah, we all want a big
We all
gun.
want a big gun. But yeah, so, and he has his collection of Nerf guns. And like, my daughter used to sit and watch me play Call of Duty, and she'd call it the shooting noobs game. Because that's what we do, is we'd sit and shoot noobs. And like, it's a video game. But I guess, like, again, I grew up, I mean, they didn't exist in that realm when we were all younger. Like, you were shooting pixels, But
Yeah,
like,
it was
like
Mario,
Castle
man.
Wolfenstein still exists, but it was pixelated.
What did you just say?
Castle Wolfenstein.
You fucking God. It's Forza all over again.
Forza.
God damn. You just go out of your way to like really under the radar, like just troll people.
What is wrong with saying Castle Wolfenstein?
Nothing is wrong with it, but I know why you're saying it like that.
Because it's
just to start
'cause
this
it's
argument.
German.
No, that's not why. It's just to do this. Just to get under people's skin.
Now, if I were to say,
like last week.
if I were to say that
fucking
you're,
Forza. It's not
No.
fucking Forza. We went through this. And
Now-
I'm not disagreeing with
Now,
you
if I
on
would've-
either
now,
account.
hold
but
on.
the
Now-
whole reason you're saying it is just to fucking piss people off.
no,
Just to piss people off.
okay, no, if I were to say
oh
that you,
God, they're arguing again.
if I were to say your girlfriend used to drive a Volkswagen, then that's to piss you off. But Castle Wolfenstein is Castle Wolfenstein.
Oh God. Did you turn my mic back on?
Yeah, your mic's back on. Anyway, all right. So, all right. So you guys talked about The Matrix. You just did Child's Play. What other horror movies do you have lined up? See, we argue, but I can pull it back. I'm pro.
Yeah.
We're not really arguing anyway. It's all a bit.
Corey says this is how you build sexual tension. So what other horror movies do you have lined up for Scaretober? Is that what you called it?
God, you know what? I don't even know yet because we've been like we're both kind of arguing. We have differing opinions of what movies we
Look,
should be
other
covering.
podcasters that argue.
I recommend Maximum
Yeah.
Overdrive.
Maximum
we-
Overdrive.
Maximum Overdrive. Yeah, I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's the worst horror movie ever, but the greatest at
That
the same
sounds
time.
great. No, I want to see. I definitely want to see that then. Horror movies are interesting. So either I feel like we just did The Conjuring about a month ago, but it's hard to have a horror movie that has maybe like 1 to 3 movies because it's either like a one and done and it's a great movie, or it's like fucking Halloween and there's a million of them.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's kind of like hard to like frame up how we're gonna do the franchises. So we're still kind of brainstorming. We'll probably literally figure it out the night before we went on record. But.
I tend to lean toward I lean away from slasher movies. I'm not so into that. Like The
Yeah.
Conjuring was great. There's a sequel to that, right?
There's
Yeah,
multiple.
two of them.
There's
Yeah,
the sequel
see, I
and then
don't-
the 2 spin-offs.
Well, Annabelle,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
But The Conjuring is great because a lot of it's implied, you know.
Right.
You don't get
Yeah.
there's not a lot of gore there.
Well-
like you don't a gory horror movie for me lies more toward like comedy. If I'm gonna watch that, I'm gonna go toward like trauma, you know.
And I agree. Like I love the Saw movies. I don't love them because they scare me. I love them
No.
because they're torture porn.
Right? They're not scary.
Like that's what it is. It's the kill scenes. Like
Right.
one of my favorite.
You're going into that for the
Right.
shock value.
Like
completely.
Saw 3D was a garbage fucking movie. However, the opening scene where you had the two boyfriends and then the girl suspended over the giant like log splitting blade in 3D was amazing. Like it was just really cool to watch, and that's what you watch Saw for. You watch Saw for the death scenes, right? So now, where do you fall? Being a horror fan, I'm curious for my own curiosity. Where do you fall with like the based on a true story stuff?
I don't really care if it's based on a true story or not. I like the I love like tension building horror. Like, have you guys seen Hush, by any chance, on Netflix?
I have not. Have you?
I don't know. Can't remember.
So
Was that the woman that was
is-
the one with the woman that was deaf and the guy was trying
Yeah.
to be? Yeah, that's an excellent film.
Yeah, I love shit like that where you're just like you're like this the whole time. You're like, what the fuck is gonna happen? Like it's just like you're really on edge. It's not like you're just kind of sitting there watching people get like their neck slit. It's more of like that really like anxiety building.
Yeah.
Oh fuck, what's gonna like actually
Right.
happen?
We should talk about Corey, Captain Temerity, and his podcast Pot.
Podcast of Terror.
Yes, where they
They just came back.
watch and I know, and I couldn't stream it. They watch and review horror movies weekly. It's an excellent show.
So, yeah.
You've been on there a couple times.
Yeah,
We've been on there as a pair twice, once,
twice.
Yeah, we did Deathgasm. That's something. Have you seen or heard of Deathgasm?
I heard of it, but I've not seen
That again, not scary, over the top, gory, and campy as hell. It's great. And then yeah, so Deathgasm, and then we were because it was Deathgasm. Then we did Drive Angry.
Yep.
That's right, because I have a Nicolas Cage obsession.
As do we all.
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, no. If you like horror movies and you have room in podcast
I appreciate a
listening,
good slasher, bloody gore. But if I really want to like sit down and be entertained,
for me, if they want to get me, like if I'm going to be gotten by gore or bloody violence, like it has to be realistic. Like once it becomes kind of like with the video game conversation, like once it becomes over the top and goofy to where like that's never going to happen in real life, like that is not going to get me. But one thing, like when we were talking about TV, I mentioned how I'm not a Game of Thrones fan. I'm not, but I have watched some of it, and there are levels of violent scenes in that show where like it is real. And like it's difficult to watch. Or being a parent, violence towards children, can't watch it. Yeah, cannot watch it. And things like that. But when it comes to like again the over the top stuff, no, I like it. The reason I had asked the question about the based on a true story is because like I feel like they're insulting your intelligence at that point, because like they want you to think that this all really happened. And like I'm okay with inspired by. But again, it's all in the language. Like if you're inspired by actual events, sure. But like The Conjuring, like there's this, like you can go read all these write-ups about how like the two people that was based off of, like they had criminal charges pressed against them for being
they
frauds.
were completely fucking fakes.
Yeah. Make it called based on bullshit, because like it's public record that they were frauds. So and so that kind of.
Are we talking about the Warrens?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or then there's the other flip side of that, where things like the Amityville Horror, like I get all excited and that's really cool, and then you find out it's all fake.
Yeah.
So, quick question: what do you guys feel about the Blair Witch, like the original?
I still like it.
The
sequel is still terrible.
Yeah, we don't have to talk. We don't have to say that the sequels exist. But
The trouble with Blair Witch is that
like late 90s. Yeah.
The problem with Blair Witch is that it's very M. Night Shyamalan, wherein like it's one and done. You can't do it again. It's like that.
Although I hear the new one's good.
Shyamalan?
No, the new Blair Witch.
No,
I heard it was really good.
It wasn't.
It wasn't.
No,
I heard a bunch of good things about it.
It's like Daffy Duck in Looney Tunes, where he drinks the poison and dies and comes back, and it's a great trick, and you can only do it once. That's Blair Witch. It's a great experience.
I like that analogy.
You don't remember that?
No. I said I like the analogy.
Oh, I use it all the time. You're welcome. It's like that though. Blair Witch is by itself on an island. You can't do it again. But it's a great idea. Are you referring to like the found footage aspect of it?
Yeah, I love found footage. I love those style of movies.
So you like
and
Paranormal Activity too, then?
What?
You like Paranormal Activity then?
I do. They're not my favorite, but I do enjoy those movies.
Paranormal Activity, the original, in the theater.
Raul and I
is the last time I remember being legitimately scared.
Raul and I went to see that, and we're literally just in this embrace of fear.
Like, I fucking jumped. Like, at the end, like, when they do the reveal.
Yeah.
Like, because wasn't there a different ending in the theater than there was in home release?
I don't know. I don't recall there being a different
Because the ending I remember is at the very end when she walks up to the camera and her face turns.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
I
the ending that I
shrieked
remember.
like a girl. Like, it was horrible.
Yeah.
But
I saw that movie in Salem too, so that added to it. You know?
But back to Blair Witch. No, I remember liking it. The only thing about the sequel was it was paired with the release of Disposable Teens by Marilyn Manson, and I really like that song. But no, I haven't seen it in years, so I don't know how I'd feel about it now. The interesting thing about Blair Witch is that the ending only happened that way because of a lack of budget.
Yeah.
The cutoff. Yeah. They ran out of money, so ended up with the cutoff. Then they got funding. They filmed like 3 or 4 other endings. And after they spent all that money filming like 3 or 4 other endings, they realized that just fade to black was the best way to do it. So they wasted all that money trying to film other endings.
I was reading the chat. Katie Featherstone, the chick that plays the possessed girl in the movie. Yeah, that was an added bonus. I had some kind of weird crush on her. And her whole like backstory in those films I was really into. I don't know. There's really no point to me saying that. I just was really in love with her as a character.
Right.
Yeah, right.
I'm trying to remember. No, I think when it comes to I'm trying to remember the last horror movie that I really liked. I really liked Sinister.
Sinister was good. But again, like that comes out with a whole crop of movies. There's a bunch of movies that are in the same. It's kind of like Deep Impact or Armageddon or Volcano and whatever the other fucking movie is.
But I liked that
Sinister came out, and then there was another one too. I forget the name of it, of course.
I don't know.
He was a writer. There were like videotapes in the attic. Maybe that was Sinister.
That was Sinister.
Yeah, there was another one.
It was The Boogeyman.
No.
Sinister was The Boogeyman.
Yeah, but not that movie.
But there was a bunch of like Jeepers Creepers.
Yeah, fuck that movie.
Yeah, fuck the movie and the director.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I can't believe he has the audacity.
Dante's
to do another
Peak.
one.
That's what it was. Volcano and Dante's Peak.
Yeah, but Volcano was so much better.
I like Dante's Peak. When the grandmother pushes the boat through the acidic lake, that's a great scene.
The movie doesn't matter. It's Tommy Lee Jones versus Pierce Brosnan. Tommy Lee Jones wins every time.
I don't know. I like Tommy Lee Jones for sure, but I kind of like Dante's Peak better.
Yeah.
Although that scene where the guy jumps into the lava and totally unrealistically melts.
I didn't see Sinister 2. I guess it's Corey says it ruined or killed the franchise. And Corey also leads towards Dante's Peak, so apparently I'm wrong.
You're never wrong. What do you mean?
Yeah, I don't know, but that's cool. But no, so why don't you give a rundown of where people can find your show, and you don't do it live, so like when you guys release it, things like that, and I assume some people will definitely check it out.
Yeah, do it up. I'll subscribe to it right now.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. So we are Franchise Friends Podcasts. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, pretty much anywhere you'd find podcasts. On Twitter, we're at Franchise Friend because of Twitter's character limit. It's just a singular friend. But you can also find me at Kate Strolls on Twitter. And our website is strollingstill.com.
Were you gonna say something?
Nope.
You breathed in. So.
No, I was looking at everything she just said.
Cool.
And we normally release about once a week. We've been like a little bit off this summer because the summer's been a little bit busy for us, but we'll be back on track going into the rest of the year. We usually release like Friday, Saturdays. So yeah.
Very cool. All right. So definitely if you enjoyed her presence on the podcast this evening.
Yeah, what you gleaned from it between us arguing with each other.
It was very argumentative tonight. But yeah, no, check out that stuff. And yeah, again, especially with the horror movies coming out. You had mentioned Matrix. I'm just kind of curious, going back, you said it was the first time you saw the third one, which The Matrix is a solo movie. That's another one that should have just ended.
Agreed.
What are some of the without going too much into it, what are some of the other movies that you've covered, or just franchises in general?
We did The Conjuring before that. If you guys want to hear a really good horror one, the 11-year-old niece, we actually had her on an episode to cover the Paranormal Activity series because she's like a freaking expert. I'm not even kidding. This kid is an expert on the series, and she's incredibly well-spoken. It's like our 8th episode, so it's kind of deep in the archives, but I would highly recommend that one.
So with a prepubescent voice added to it, that must add to the creep factor, right?
Yeah, kids are creepy.
Kids are creepy.
Kids are really creepy. I live with 3 of them.
Kids are so creepy, but she's really well spoken, so I would highly recommend that. But we've covered it. We've done the entire Alien series. We've even done some really stupid movies when we don't have any ideas. We did Ace Ventura one year, but yeah, check us out.
I'll check out the Alien series. That'll be cool.
Ace Ventura.
Yeah.
So we end the show with Game Over, man.
One of our more popular episodes, ironically. I guess people just love Ace Ventura.
Because it's Ace Ventura.
I don't think it holds up.
I don't think the second one holds up. The first one is...
The first one's a fucking classic.
Yeah.
I had a poster of the second one when I was a kid where he's like on the 2 alligators.
When nature calls. No, the whole like the dueling spear with the tribal thing. No, that.
You know what my favorite scene in that movie is?
Huh?
Ooh, ooh, I'll go. Yeah,
I'm the Monopoly guy. Yeah.
Or the birthing of the rhinoceros. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Too.
See, but all that, like, that's all stuff where for the moment. But I think like there's the UPS scene in the first one will never get old.
Yeah, no, that's classic.
You know, or like with the dude and he's like, warning, assholes are closer than they appear. And he knocks those are lines I'll never forget.
Right.
You know?
And now Jim Carrey, like Joaquin Phoenix for a role, has gone right out of his mind.
Is it for a role? Have we figured that out?
Yeah. He is doing a role. Do you have insights on that?
You know what I would...
Because I cannot remember. He's doing a movie that...
Good for you, Jim Carrey.
Who is...
It's the whole, like, we're not real, none of us are here, right? That whole thing he's doing. It should be Truman Show 2.
Yeah, it should be. Good idea.
Truman Show 2. We're not here, none of this is real.
Who's the guy from Taxi? The comedian.
From Taxi, the TV show?
Yeah. Man on the Moon.
Oh, Kaufman?
Yeah, I think he's doing a Kaufman documentary or something.
He did that already.
No, I know he did. I know he did that, but there's something else that's coming down the pipe that's like.
I'll have to look into it. That was a great movie, Man on the Moon. We should do that for Movie Busters. I really enjoyed that movie. That's another long one though. Mm-hmm. But anyway, well, it looks like you got at least a subscriber in the chat room, which is cool. Corey's awesome too. If Corey is a fan, Corey is a loyal fan. So Corey is cool.
Taking it day by day.
But anyway, so check out all of Kate's stuff and all of their movie viewings. I'm gonna check out the one with the kid because that sounds like it would be creepy as hell. Mm-hmm. So I wanna listen to that one. For this show, as always, you can watch us live every Friday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Twitch.tv/InkedGeekStudios. Our guest next week from DTNS, Mr. Tom Merritt himself. So that should be a really fun episode. Tom's a cool guy. I got to meet him at Nerdtacular back in July. So I'm excited to have him on. If you want to support this show and everything else we do at Inked Geek Studios, you can go to patreon.com/IG Studios. As little as $1 a month can help support this show and all of the other shows that we do. One of our biggest fans, Annalisa, is currently abroad in Germany and Europe, so I will take her space and say, give him $1.
Give him $1.
Because that is kind of her thing that she does in the chat room. Yeah. But no, this has been a lot of fun. Appreciate you taking the time to come on. I'm glad we were finally able to connect because I know we had you scheduled last season and then we just seemed to miss things. So I was glad to finally get you on.
I'm really, really pumped you guys had me on. You two were freaking awesome to talk to. I had a really good time.
We're mediocre at best. I don't know.
No, I appreciate that. That's cool. Every time someone comes on and enjoys their time, because we can be brash and like you never know how, like, especially if it's somebody who's never spoken to you before. Yeah.
I'm just a color guy, man.
There you go.
You take yourself down some fucking rabbit hole, and then I have to dig you out of it.
There we go. Yeah, so you never know how anyone's going to take it. We have a peculiar set of skills. But anyway.
We're into pegging.
Oh my God, there we go again. All right, so 9:30 p.m. Friday nights. If you listen to this in podcast form, if you could leave us a review, that would be awesome. If you are on an iOS device, the new podcast app made that really simple. All you have to do is scroll to the bottom of the episode list and just leave a review, and we would appreciate that greatly. But yeah, I think that's going to do it. So again, a big thank you to our guests for coming on. You were a lot of fun and really enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you very much.
Big thank you to our live chat room. As always, you guys knock it out of the park. So yeah, I think that's going to do it. Cool. For Kate, for Brandon, for myself, and for the rest of Inked Geek Studios, thank you all very much for listening. And we will see you next week. You've been listening to an Inked Geek Studios podcast. For this and other great shows, go to inkedgeekstudios.com.